Okay, for those and there. Okay.
Write that down. Oh, okay, thanks, Rose. Do I need an official sign?
Do you need an
Do I need an official sign? I always just kind of write them on the pen.
Okay,
Unless,
yeah. We don't need signatures. We can
Okay.
just make note of all the people who are here. So far, those three that I named are the members that are missing, but 8 of us are here. So great. So let's start with introductions because we have a guest today. We often have guests here. I'll start. I'm Alice Green and I chair the task force, and we'll introduce folks here in this room and then on the screen after that. So I'll pass it to Rose.
oh, hi, Rose Borsey, Rail Trail Secretary, Village of Freeville.
Great,
Tony Bretcher, member of the board.
great.
Chris Tassali, Himes Task Force Member, resident of Etna.
Daya Tassali Himes, married to Chris Tassali Himes, resident of Etna and chair of the Communications and Outreach Committee.
Great. And we've met before, but you
Yeah.
can introduce yourself to everybody.
It's very nice to meet you all on the screen as well. My name is Dylan Mitchell, and I am the president of Tompkins Portland Community College Outdoor Adventure Club.
Oh, welcome. Good. And Sue, you want to put you on the spot?
Hi, I'm Sue Funicelli, and I live in Varna and I'm a Rail Trail Task Force member.
Good. And we have 2 more folks from the who are
TC3.
present with us here from TC3. So do you guys want to just introduce yourself?
There you go. I'm Jeanette Figure 4.
Great. And
Hi.
Anna Maria
Yeah.
has been with us before. Welcome, you guys.
Yeah, my name is Anna Maria. I'm also the secret.
Great. Good. Okay, let's go to the screen. I see first Chip.
Hi, I'm Chip, resident of the Village of Freeville.
Great. And Susan.
Hello, I'm Susan Ashdown. I'm a task force member, resident of Varna, but currently in Toronto.
Oh.
Not back into Canada. Yeah.
And you know what it feels like? It feels like Chicago. I forgot. It's a town on the shores of a very big lake with very fierce cold winds.
Thanks.
Okay. Judy.
Hi, I'm Judy Pierpont. I'm a task force member and I live on Mount Pleasant.
Thank you. And Todd.
Good evening, Todd Bittner. I'm a task force member and thrilled so many folks from TC3 Outing Club are interested in the project. So welcome.
Yay. Dan.
Hi, everyone. Dan Lamb, Deputy Supervisor, Town of Dryden, and I'll be in Toronto next week, Susan. So keep it friendly up there.
Yeah, we should meet up if we have time. I live right in the middle of Toronto.
Really? You have a house
Yeah.
there?
Right, no, an apartment.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's right downtown. So
Cool.
Great. Okay, guys, thank you. Let's go to our first order of business, which is let's see, any additions or changes to the agenda that you all received, and we have some copies here in the room. Hearing none, we'll go ahead and talk about the minutes from the October meeting. Any corrections, edits, changes, additions?
They were extremely well written.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Alice, do we want to discuss the correction that we got from the clarification that we got from Erdman Anthony that we inserted into the notes?
Yeah, thank you, Todd. It's not exactly always kosher to put in addition to minutes, of something that was clarified after the meeting, but I thought since these were going to be made public, I would just answer a question in the minutes that came up at our last meeting, and that is, we noticed in the matrix of we noticed in the matrix of criteria for us to evaluate the different alternatives to do to complete the trail through phase 3, Pinckney Road to Johnson Road. We noticed in that analysis that they were saying that we needed 11 easements for the alternative 1, which stayed on the rail corridor. And we've been talking about the fact that we can do it in 6 easements, that we really only need 6 easements from 4 property owners. So we were confused at the last meeting why they were saying 11. So we wrote right after the meeting to ask for clarification and got a quick answer, which actually, Todd, you helped me interpret. And the answer was that they were considering if we needed the full 66-foot easements in every case, that we don't have an easement. But in fact, the way that we've been operating is we have been just, if we can get 33 feet of the 66-foot rail corridor, it's enough for us to build our 10-foot trail. So that correction is in there to make sure that everybody understood that we don't have as many easements as the matrix would indicate. Want to add anything to that, Todd?
So in the minutes, the matrix is a part of it. And so the matrix, as we had reviewed it last meeting, is correct with the understanding that, as Alice just explained.
Yes, and that, and we are, when we vote to approve these minutes, then the matrix and the minutes will become a matter of public record and on the town website.
Does this thing we got for it's the old one?
That it continues to stand as we approved it last time, with understanding that what they're talking about is full 66-foot easements. But we know for our own working process that if we just got 33, we can still build that trail. So any other questions or clarifications about the October minutes?
Really, really minor. Put in project management committee, the last sentence. Should be hopeful.
I gotta get it from you.
You missed it, huh? First page.
Or it's hoped. Is it hopeful or hope?
It is hoped. It should be, it is hoped with a D that many of last May's bidders will bid again.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so frustrating that they pulled out the thing that
held up our whole, yeah. Okay, so with that correction, adding a D to the word hope in the project managers committee report. Any other corrections or changes? Okay.
I do have 2 minor ones that somebody told me about, but it's like removing it and 2.
Oh, okay. So have you got those so that we can get a corrected copy for the public records? Okay, good. With D, it, and 2. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes from October? Sue and Tony. Great. All in favor of approving the October minutes, show by raising your hand, please. Thank you. Looks like everybody is a task force. Good. Okay, wonderful.
Thank you, Rose.
Thank you. Thank you, Alice.
Yeah, thank you, Rose. That was an enormous task last month. That was
well, I'm gonna add my credit here too. We needed a lot of clarification there, so good. And thanks, Todd.
Yeah, we're a great team. I couldn't be more grateful to Rose for putting it all in place. And just like Bob did for me, sometimes I have to put in a couple of clarifications, but it's all good. And sometimes I miss an N or two and D. Good. Okay, let's go to Project Management Committee, let's see, Dan, will you please talk about what we have learned about the bid opening on December 4th, et cetera?
What have we learned?
Well, we know a little bit more about the timetable.
Yeah, that's the big deal. And we were able to put out the bid. Some folks are responding. I know that there's interest from Herd Development once again. He's very concerned that the process never resolved in the last time. So there have been a few emails that I was CC'd on where he's still a little put out that his last request wasn't granted for just reconsideration. But so we put out the complete package again for bid, and that was a long back and forth with DOT to get the project, the submission complete and approved for the bid to be put out. So I think I'm not sure what else to add to that. We've been through this cycle before, so it's not exactly new territory for us, other than that the project's slightly smaller, and we expect a slightly lower bids, hopefully, coming in because we've narrowed the scope of the project.
Great, good. Todd, anything to add?
Well, just in terms of the sequence, so the bid opening, and we'll all learn on December 4 what the low bid is. Then the town board has to vote to accept the low bidder at a forthcoming meeting. Then DOT gets that for review, which is where things got hung up the last time, and we have no idea what the timetable is for that, but just expecting that it'll probably be sometime in January before everything is finalized. And then at that time, we would plan to put out a press release with the announcement of this news event. And we talked about, and I know this is later, so we don't have to talk about the detail now, but including information about how people can be engaged with the rail trail project as stewards in the same press release. And so we could just put a pin in that for now, that next piece. But that was kind of the sequence that we worked out in terms of both the process and how we might make the most of our communication strategy around it.
Great, good. Diane or Chris, anything to add from the project, from hearing about this and discussing it at Project Management?
We did talk about creating a more of an infographic type of map to just highlight the sections without having the full detail of the master map, but then to provide a link to the master map.
Yes. Great. Yeah. When we announce
it.
The invitation for folks to be trail stewards. Great. So just to frame this for folks that are new, we've been working for many years to get a bridge over Route 13, and we finally have the possibility of choosing a company to construct that bid, and the fact that the bids are being opened in December means that we probably are looking at a springtime startup for that bridge construction. But this is a benchmark for us because we are really hopeful that this time the bid will come in within our budget, the town board will approve it, and we'll be able to move forward with that bridge. Great. Any additional questions about where we are with the Route 13 bridge? Definitely the linchpin of our whole project, tying both the east and the west ends of it together. So a great moment for us to be close to awarding a bid for it. So phase three planning. Phase three planning is the activity that this matrix that we just approved was that represents. And Todd, do you want to say anything more about next steps there?
So we let Erdman Anthony know what the preferred alternative was. And the next part of their project and their contract with us is to get us a detailed cost estimate for that so that we can then use that for grant development. And we were expecting that it'd take them maybe a month or two to put that together. So maybe we'll have a draft to review by the next task force meeting. But we haven't heard anything yet or received anything or any questions back from Erdman Anthony yet.
Great. So again, for folks who are new, phase three is that last phase that we need that includes the easements that we don't have. And we've hired a consultant. We've gotten a grant to hire a consultant to study alternatives. And we've chosen one, which is to stay on the rail bed. And now the firm that we've hired will give us cost estimates. And we want to use that money, as Todd said, to apply for one last big grant to finish the whole trail. That's the plan for phase three. Good. Okay, let's move on to, any questions about that? Where we are with phase three planning. Okay. Let's get an update on the NYSEG section. So we really have two bridges going here. One very large and complex, and one not so complex, but which is falling into place with lots of funding and good news. Let's see. I guess first we'll say that we heard from Ray Berger, the town planner, on Friday that we have not received word yet from the Department of Environmental Conservation about our application to get a permit to operate adjacent to the wetland that are in the section which we call the NYSEG section that is east of Pinckney Road along the trail. And by my calculation, we're past the 90 days from submission of application. And I believe that their mandate or requirement, or maybe just they'd like to get things back to us before 90 days. They haven't. But at this point, we're not looking to start construction on that until the spring. So they're not holding us up by not having a response for us.
I think, didn't they say that the packet of information moves around to different people and it's working its way through approvals?
Yeah.
So
we understand that they have been saying, at least as of a month ago, oh, well, it's been reviewed by this part of the DEC and now it goes to somebody else. And they asked for some additional materials, which Todd had provided for the Army Corps of Engineers decision, which was in our favor. And the same packet of information went to DEC. They haven't asked for anything more for over a month. So this wetland permit application is probably going to be deliberated, we hope soon. They've had it for a long time. Any questions or comments about the wetland permit part? Great news on the Finger Lakes Runners Club request. Todd, do you want to announce that?
Sure. So we have been working with Charlie Troutman, a faculty at Cornell University, teaches engineering course, and he got his students together to do the design last spring and presented here to the task force on that, and didn't stop there. Secured additional funds from Cornell University that we previously reported, but now he, as a former board member of the Finger Lakes Runners Club, approached the Finger Lakes Runners Club about making a donation towards the Nice Egg Bridge, and we just received news that they approved a $2,500 grant to purchase materials towards the that bridge construction. And that is just fantastic on its face value, but also the way that it got structured is that essentially Charlie is going to create a purchase list at a local lumber company, because the grant is for like railings, decking, lumber kinds of items, fasteners, and then hand that invoice over to the Finger Lakes Runners Club, and they're just going to pay for it. And so it saves our administrative folks at the town of Dryden a bunch of extra things, and grant reporting and tracking and paperwork and invoicing and all kinds of other things. It just makes it really clean and smooth. And we don't have any other grants that require cost share for this section, so there's not any need for any other kind of documentation that we need to leverage this money against other money or anything like that. So it's a really elegant solution. So not only we get $2,500, but essentially we get it with zero red tape. So I really like that. And folks there at the Runners Club love this project so much that one of the other board members, Ian Golding, announced that he wanted to make another $1,000 in-kind contribution to the project. So the Runners Club grant now kind of snowballed in a good way to go from $2,500 to $3,500. And so we owe Charlie a lot of gratitude. And Alice, were we gonna send a card of gratitude to the Runners Club for the grant tonight?
Yes, I don't have the thank you note to circulate to people tonight because of unexpected things in my schedule, but I will send a thank you note on behalf of everybody to the Runners Club and to Ian Golden. In the past, we've sometimes passed around a thank you note to get original signatures, but I couldn't get that done in time for tonight. But I will send a thank you note to them, and we can do a follow-up with everybody's signatures on it. That's just so terrific to have. To have received that 3,500 on top of the 10,000+ that we got from Cornell University, and on top of another 10,000 from the Triad Foundation, really means that we have what we need to replace a totally missing bridge and resurface the trail surface from Pinckney Road up to that washout.
Does that include repairing the trestles?
There's no trestle there.
Right, but farther down there too, right after the washout, there's a trestle.
No, this is just for that is on the Leonardo property.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and we don't own that
That's the
yet.
next
That'll be the
bridge for
next
us
one.
across.
Yes.
And then on the other side of the Leonardo property, there's another.
Yeah.
Right.
There are a few more of these washed out bridges and culverts that we need to attend to, but we'll cross those bridges when we get to them.
So I see construction schedule, so I'll just share the plan right now is to have a kickoff meeting and get all the principals together, DPW, Charlie, and others from the task force that want to be part of it. Sometime in February, we should have our DEC wetlands permit by then. We should have the stamped plan. Charlie's also arranged for a former student of his who's a registered engineer to review and approve, stamp the construction plans. We should have that by February, and then develop what will be our spring construction schedule at that kickoff meeting. and conceivably have that bridge actually built before the Route 13 bridge.
Well, and then we have the pleasure of thinking about having events to celebrate, one small bridge and then one larger bridge. We'll decide whether we want to celebrate both bridges at the same time. Have an event that goes from one bridge to the other, or something like that, for when we open the pedestrian bridge. Yeah, pretty exciting. I'll add one more thing about that site. Some people may remember that the Bolt Storage Company fence is too close to the trail for our equipment to be able to get in, and it is misplaced. It's not legal for the fence to be inside of the utility easement that the town retained from there. We learned on Friday that that company is requesting an extension of their space for their storage company, but they have indicated that they intend to move this in presenting their site plan for the expansion. They have located the fence outside of the utility easement in a place that will allow our equipment to get in there to finish the trail up to the bridge that we're talking about. The timetable remains to be seen. We really hope that the expansion will get approved and that they'll move the fence in March so that construction could begin as soon as the trail is unfrozen and not unmuddy enough for the crews to get in there in the spring. But it's looking good right now, I would say. So any questions about our efforts over at the NYSEG section area?
Two quick questions. One is just that new request from Bolt, which that would save the trees as well as give us room for equipment, right?
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah.
That was important. So
yeah,
I'm gonna make sure that was.
Yeah.
Okay.
If they wouldn't, we do have 33 feet from the center line in the other direction, but there's a mature tree line, and we
Right.
want our crews to be able to leave those trees in place. So yeah, good. And was there another?
The other question is, have we gotten NYSEG's stamp of approval on this project? Because last I heard, NYSEG hadn't given us a response yet. I was just wondering, have we heard from them, or is that still pending?
That's a great question, Sue. So that has been kind of an interesting an interesting situation. So we got bounced around to like 3 or 4 different people within NYSEG before we were told this is the office that you want to work with, and we sent them the information, and the way that the easement is actually written is that we just have to provide notification. They're not in a position to approve anything for us to construct. But if we construct something that then hampers their ability to use their property, then it can be requested that it be undone. So it's really kind of a situation that we would want to have them tell us, yes, this is all good. And so we can, continue to inquire and try to get that from them. I suspect we might not. And then we just go ahead and construct it. And we run the risk that what we build might later cause a problem for them. But what I'll say is, I find that really, really unlikely. So the construction of the bridge will actually increase their ability to utilize their property. And the only caveat, so it's like there aren't substations out there, there's not electrical generation or other kinds of infrastructure. The main thing is that there's a high power transmission line that is just east of the washout. And so this is the two wooden poles with the high voltage. I don't know if it's a 170 kV or 220 or whatever, but it's a high power transmission line. And in the past, they graded down part of the embankment. So let me take a step back. So when you come from Pinckney, the railroad grade, the historic railroad grade is pretty much at the surface level of the surrounding land. But as you get towards the creek and where this washout is, the land drops and they keep going at the same elevation historically, which means that at the place where the washout is, it's like 15 feet elevated from the surrounding wetlands, which is part of the reason that we're not going to have any wetland impacts from the construction project because we're so much further up and above the wetlands. Well, so NYSEG, however many years ago, it was 4 years ago, 5, needed to get in there to do some work on their transmission lines. So they actually graded part of the embankment on the northwest corner of the washout so that they could get equipment down in the floodplain. And then they crossed the creek and then went north to be able to do the maintenance that they needed on the utility line. So and they don't have access from Route 366. So the only way that they can come in is off of Pinckney and from their own property. So it seems highly probable that us building the bridge will actually enhance access and maintenance access for their maintenance. But if I don't know that we'll be able to get that in writing from them. But the rest of the terms it will comply with, which include the advanced notification for what is planned to be done, but also notification for when construction is going to start. So there's like give us a week. I'd have to check the actual easement so don't quote me on the specific dates, but it's kind of like give us a 1 week notice before construction starts. So yeah, there's notification requirements, but approvals is not part of the easement agreement.
Hey, Todd, when notification was sent, was that sent via snail mail?
No, it was email. It didn't stipulate in the easement, and they didn't ask for other means.
Do we know that they received it?
Yes.
Yes.
We did get acknowledgement that was received.
Okay, great.
And actually we requested, had they done any wetland permit applications for all that work that they did right down in the wetland? And they said, no, they didn't have any on record.
Okay.
So we're doing our due diligence and they kind of couldn't find any record to share with us of wetland.
Well, we actually wrote it in a way that didn't accuse them of violating anything. We just asked them if they were aware of any permits that had been issued for their property.
Right.
Okay.
And so we didn't say, did you do that work without a wetland? But they did say they didn't have anything to share with us in response to that. So we've had some dialogue with them on that front. And they acknowledged our notification.
Great.
Yeah. Any other questions about the work on that second bridge? Okay, great. Let's go to grants review. As folks know, our biggest grants are with the Department of Transportation for the Route 13 bridge and also the Environmental Protection Fund of state parks. The state parks grant, we're getting another extension for, it was approved in 2017. And the DOT grant, I think, was approved in 2019. Our planning director, Ray Berger, let us know that he'll handle requesting those extensions of those two big grants that we have. And both of them, we believe we can close out after the Route 13 bridge is done and the resurfacing works from Monkey Run Road to that bridge. Probably in 2006, but we have to ask for one more year to get that done. Any questions about that, finance? Okay. We talked at one point about documentation needed for the state parks grant closeout, and we'll go to talking a little bit more about that when we talk about mapping. But we will need to show state parks photographs of the improvements that we've made, kind of before and afters. And I know, Chip, you've been working on a whole catalog of photographs along the entire trail. And so the task will be to get that organized and in a place where we can draw on it for when we close out that grant at some point in 2026. So
Okay.
no
Yeah.
right now. Good. Let's see, as folks know, we also have a grant. We got a grant from the county Parks and Trails Fund to repair washout in the Fox Bridge section. And that work is complete, and we're just waiting for some receipts from our accountant. County Parks folks have been very patient with us. Again, we had to get an extension on that grant, but we should be able to close that out as soon as the town pays the last bills for that, and we can hand that in. Good. And last but far from least, we have another grant to announce. It's a little tiny one, but we're happy about it. We applied for a grant from Sustainable Finger Lakes to buy plants and fencing for the mini forest installation that is going to be installed next spring. And we asked for $350 and we got it about a week and a half ago. So we have the funds to buy some planting materials, and we can talk a little bit more about that. Oh, it's on the agenda a little bit later, but we could just talk about it for a minute right now. Marion, do you want to say anything more about that?
Well, we got together, I guess it was the day after last month's meeting, and Alice and Judy and I and Rose got they brought their mini chainsaws, and we cut down some of the invasive woody plants and painted the stumps with a herbicide. And so we'll go back now and see what the next spring we'll find out whether this actually killed the plants. And there were I kept track of the numbers. We had 2 buckthorns and 3 multiflora rose, and the rest was honeysuckle. And I don't know, what do you think? There were like 20 of them or so, but they just seemed to be everywhere.
It took us, 2.5 hours or so, but we got the whole site.
Yeah, we went the whole length of the berm and painted them, and then took the brush and made brush piles with it. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it was a great day. The weather was good. We did, I think, good work. And Judy and Rose, I am in awe of your chainsaws.
Go girls.
We have some photos, pretty good photos.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And we do have some photos. Yeah, I have
Yeah.
some photos that can go up on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Let's see. Let's move to Outreach and Communication Committee. I have to say we haven't made too much progress on sign placements in the last month since our last meeting. We did, Chip and Sue did map out trail amenities in 2 sections, and actually I have some coordinates that we created, Chip, for the section that Sue did. I've transcribed them, and once you check them, I'll send them on to Chip, and we'll get the what we need at some point is some recommendations for exactly where we want the etiquette signs that remain to be installed, placed. Because they were installed kind of randomly, we will need to do a reorder. But I don't see a big rush for getting that done. Sometime in the next month or so, we should work on getting the sign placements in place.
Good. So I'll need to know which signs need to get reordered because I don't know really which ones have been put up yet. And are you gonna leave the ones that were put up erroneously where they are? Or are we gonna take them down?
The ones
to that, Sue.
The ones in Varna, I think are well placed.
Okay.
I don't have any problems in Varna at all. I'd like one more dog waste removal sign. But other than that, it's all good in Varna.
How about the section?
The ones on that section of trail still weren't as backers for the mile marker signs though, correct?
That's correct. What they did, they put them up on existing posts, like for the bridges and the washout repair. And I think they actually are better there. They're probably less likely to get taken down by a mower. They're safer there, and it's aesthetically pleasing and pretty functional where they landed.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that ours are terrible. There's a lot of them that are doubled up or, a repeat of the same sign within a given section. So like if we were going by our original methodology of sharing the wealth and not doubling up and that kind of thing, like we didn't adhere to that, but yeah, none of them are on the mileage signs. So I think we just need to rethink in general, like if we want to keep them where they are and maybe just split up the duplicates or whatever.
But I think the ones in Varna, they do seem to be spaced well, and I don't feel that there are any real duplicates. I mean, there's one on either end of the trestle bridges, but that gets people coming this way and people coming that way. So I think it works. They're also when they're on the trestle bridge and the FH Fox bridge, they're very visible. They catch your eye. You don't look right by them. You see them. So I wasn't looking for them, and there they were.
Yeah, most of the ones on this side are like where the road crossings, stop signs, it's to the back of those or whatever. There's the one by the Freeville Village and the one on the Freeville section here at Tanbark, on the Dryden Fiber. Like there's a big board where all their electrical and all that is, and there's just like 2 of them there. So like those could probably be split up. But other than that, yeah, I mean, I don't think they're in terrible spots on this side either.
Okay, well then I guess whenever you all decide what new ones need to be printed, let me know and I can place an order.
Good.
I won't do anything until I hear from you.
Okay. Yeah, I think we just slowly. One thing I have to do is get with Rick Young and inventory what got pulled back. I think there still are some that haven't been put up. And then there's some places where we really would like a sign. The sign of one of the messages is exhausted. They've already been installed, but we still need more.
Yeah.
Particularly the dog. Please clean up after your dog.
Yeah. Like I think my last recollection count, there was like 3 that didn't get hung overall. So I'm assuming that they have them somewhere, but I don't know.
Yeah. I'll get that inventory with Rick Young. I don't think that the DPW's crews didn't understand that our intention was to put them back in the back of the mile markers.
Right.
And we also have some missing mile markers here and there, and I need to inventory
Yeah, we
how
can do
many
those.
mile markers we still have and where they're needed. But your map, Chip, shows us where the mile markers are missing. So that's
Yeah. There's two that were just never done at all. Like there's no post, there's no nothing, no indication that they were ever there. And then I believe there's two that are damaged that will need to be replaced.
Okay.
In Varna, we had one that's missing, the 0.75 down by Game Farm, and then we just have where they haven't been placed yet from Monkey Run to Route 13. They haven't been
Right.
installed yet because
Yeah.
we're waiting, right? So
Yeah. We wanted
Isn't
to
the
make
quarter,
this-
isn't the quarter mile marker missing? The first one?
okay, I'll have to check my notes. I thought it was a 3/4 mile, but maybe it's the 1/4
okay.
mile. Yeah, because you're
Yeah.
right, because it's down near Game Farm. You're right. It's
Yes.
the 0.25 one is missing. That's the
Yeah.
only one that's missing.
Just
Yeah.
wanna make
And
sure
I've
they're
got
right.
that in your notes. so
Yes, it's in my
that's-
notes. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. So we have some documentation.
Yeah, while we're doing those, could we also think about continuing mile markers between FH Fox Bridge and Monkey Run as that, and even a little further as that surfacing is already done now?
Yeah, I actually was thinking that surfacing got done faster than I thought it was going to be done, but luckily we're able to claim it as part of the grant. But I was thinking that we might do that as a work party when the weather gets a little bit better. That might be a nice pop-up for stewards to do together. That's kind of a fun activity to mark those off. And
So we have all those like ready to go, or do we need to order them?
I need to inventory, but I think we do. I think that Finger Lake, that's another thing that Finger Lake's running. And folks may remember Nancy Kleinrock, who was a member of this task force in the early days, has made some contributions, personal contributions to the trail, and helped install mile markers with Bob back in the day. So she was involved in helping us order them, and I need to inventory how many we have.
She also marked the placement for them, right? She has some kind of tool that she used to mark the placement of each one.
Yeah. And then I think the way that actually she and Bob worked on that one was that they marked the placements, and then the DPW guys went in and set the posts for those. So we could either ask them to do that or do it ourselves. And since the intention was that the etiquette signs would go on the back of mile markers, we could be sort of doing that as one work party, mile markers, more mile markers, and possibly replacing missing ones. But I'm seeing that now as a springtime project after this latest couple of snowfalls that we've had.
So on our section, we are missing the 1.75 and the 2.
And you're talking about, and so that's in the Shug section.
Yeah. It's would have been in that like Chafee section, and I know that was like under construction for a while. Like they were rebuilding a culvert there. So I don't know if that's why it got skipped or if that's when it got removed. And then the other one should have been right after one of the footbridges, and it's just not there.
Okay, good.
And
And that's
then I'll just have to go through the photos to recall which ones are the damaged ones.
okay. Yeah, that map is really helpful to notice that. Great. Okay, let's move on to kiosks. Diane, do you want to just?
So I guess the only thing I'll say about the kiosks is that since we'll be getting bids on the bridge pretty soon, and it looks like the bridge will indeed occur, hopefully by spring or fall, that I'm going to focus on getting kiosks ready, and the bridge will be the first one. I have all the notes from when we met the last time, so I don't think we need to convene the people who were involved on it, but I'll keep everybody updated, and we'll share layouts and stuff. And if we need to get together to meet to talk about it, that'd be fine. And if anybody wants to be on the design committee and isn't, let me know.
This is the Route 13 bridge.
This is the route, okay, right? the bridge, capital D. Not the bridge.
So where will the kiosk go? On the middle of the bridge?
No, I think we're thinking about having it on the end, but in the middle would be really interesting, actually, but I don't know if we can. keep us in the middle.
Yeah, I don't think the middle's a good idea.
It'll probably be down on
We'll need to meet with DPW, I think, to talk about the best siting for the.
Well, I think it might relate on where are people going to park? If the bed frame company is going to allow any of their parking lots to be parking for trail walkers, then it makes sense to have it on that side of the bridge.
Yeah.
I mean, anyway, maybe it makes sense to have it on that side of the bridge because people aren't going to park and get on 13.
Yeah,
No.
I think that's right. It sounds like we need to.
They are now, but they should.
They shouldn't.
Yeah.
It's not, yeah.
Yeah. Dan, is that something that you can help us with at the appropriate time, reapproaching the bed frame factory folks to see if we can get some designated parking areas for the trail?
Absolutely. I think that's something they'd consider doing. They've been such a good partner all along. It's good for their employees. So
Lot doesn't look terribly filled. I mean, it never looks.
well, yeah, I think that facility was built for more workers, and just they don't have the contracts right now to support that.
So
I guess the matter is when to do that. I have concerns about people using the trail at that point and going across Route 13. So I don't think we want any more people there until the bridge is completed.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Todd, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, thanks. I just wanted to remind folks about how unhappy some of the Hallwoods Road homeowners were, and that we want to make sure if we're inviting people to a new trailhead for parking, that it ends up being very clear that it's at the Knickerbocker, not along the road, and that actually may cause a attractive nuisance for that situation, even if we're really clear about where people are supposed to park. So it's something that we can figure out. But if for whatever reason Knickerbocker says no, we shouldn't be pursuing parking in that area.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe we can tease that out a little bit more, Todd. I mean, that's not against the law. It is a town road. I know change is a big deal, but that it's no different from any other road in the town where people can park.
Well, I guess I'm thinking is that we probably would have an equal chance of being able to put something on Pinckney on the Glen Swan property if we want to create a new parking area as opposed to just roadside parking. That there's other alternatives that we could pursue other than Hallwoods Road.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, if people start parking there, I don't know if we can put no parking.
About it being a town road. It's just how much grief we want to deal with to make that happen.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I was thinking that if we get permission from the mattress factory, from the bed frame factory, Knickerbocker, that we can be very clear with signage, and that takes away from the Hallwood Road folks' worries. But maybe a site visit there is necessary as the bridge construction starts. I think we should really start looking at what that parking should look like, where the kiosk is placed, and so on. For folks who are new here, the kiosk is an opportunity for us to do some education. It's a chance for us to talk about what the trail is, what the railroads were like that preceded this use of the trail, and so on. So we're looking to make it visitor friendly and informative. And it is best if we can do that kind of information place close to where folks are going to be able to park to get on the trail. So maybe we can do a subcommittee visit to that site in the spring to really think about what, where we want those, that kiosk to be placed. Thank you for offering to work on this over the winter. It's a good time to get that in place. We have materials, I think, for 3 kiosks at least in storage, unassembled, but in storage at DPW. So,
yeah, and I think when we met last, we talked about 5 different kiosks total. I don't have the notes here, but the priority one was the pedestrian bridge kiosk.
yes, yeah.
We talked about Monkey Run, and we talked about one on the
Stevens, yes.
Stevenson and Monkey Run, where we were going to put 2 of them.
Yeah, and then Etna was like the last.
Yeah. Yeah, good. So that's great to use this winter time to kind of get the content in place, and we'll need to schedule with DPW to get those assembled and built once we decide where the site is. So lots of work to be done on that. Thank you. Great. Okay, so we've any final questions about anything on the outreach and communication side of things? Okay, let's go to Trail Stewards and the Volunteers Committee. As we said, the invitation that we've been talking about for a long time is we decided that the best time to send it is when we're making the great announcement that the bid is going out. I mean, Chris, do you want to say something?
That's, yeah, I wanted to, Todd, when we were in the project management committee meeting, you had sort of suggested tying in a rollout to the Trail Stewards invitation to the same time that the announcement of the bridge. Now, I didn't know if that was relative to the announcement of the bids going out, or if we're talking about when, like, closer to what was the timing that you were proposing, Todd?
Yeah, I mean, the timing was going to be the same as what we did before. So, like, we didn't make any announcements about the bid opening. We didn't make an announcement about the town board approving the bid package. We were gonna make the announcement after DOT approval, because that's the final piece, and then the contract is executed. So until then, we're not over the finish line. And so that's why we didn't make any announcements. I mean, I know that there was a bit of press, like Dan did something to explain things in the Cortland Standard and a few other things, but that wasn't the same as us sending out a press release like, hey, we're building the bridge. So that is probably my recommendation is that's best after it's all a done deal, after DOT approves it. And that would be when we make the announcement about the bridge. And so my suggestion was, given the high profile visibility that press release is going to get, then we can be like, and here's how you can help us become a trail steward. And, here's information to do that. So to kind of pull those 2 things together in our marketing.
It's a double whammy positive, big crescendo.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're hoping that we'll have, everything in motion to be able to, announce some final, the bridge is actually getting built. Here's the timeline. We're looking at sometime this winter. I mean, what's your expectation?
That's our hope.
January.
January.
I mean, I think what Dan said earlier was DOT kind of owes us one in terms of getting this done in a timely way. So hopefully, hopefully they'll oblige this time and 6 weeks will be enough time for them to approve it.
So I guess
Yeah,
we're
let's
gonna
hope
kind
so.
of target January timeframe then, mid-January, or we'll see what, we'll know
Yeah.
more
Right.
once we hear back from DOT, but we have, everything is basically there.
Yeah, yeah.
And that also works out well for us. I mean, I think once January rolls around, things will ease up time-wise for Diane and me.
That's great.
So,
Yeah. Well, you've already done the work to create a beautiful graphic and to
Yep.
set us up with an email address for stewards and also a Google group for stewards. We've got a draft invitation set to go. Diane, you volunteered to give us a map that sort of
Right.
de-emphasizes the missing sections that we're not quite looking for
We might
stewards
work
for
with-
yet.
With you on that, if you're interested.
Sure,
Probably.
tell me what you need.
What we had discussed in the
Yeah, I think
project management
yeah, maybe
committee
we can talk after the meeting.
Okay.
is
Yeah.
what you had mentioned earlier in the meeting tonight, was
Right.
to create a more
Okay.
graphically basic.
Without so much detail. So
Okay.
that's gonna be easier for people to see. This is section 1 is between this road and that road. Section 2 is between this road and that.
Yeah.
And therefore, when it gets small, you're still gonna see the important details.
Yeah.
And then they can go to the map online and they can zoom in and see more details.
Good, good. So this is also feeling good that we've got this momentum building to make the bridge announcement. We also have a lot of pieces in place that have been slowly percolating. And Sue, you said you'd be willing to be the point person when we start getting responses and people saying, oh, I'd like to go out and maybe walk that trail section with you, or
We can do an initial orientation meeting for all the stewards to come and get like a presentation from us and just talk about, and they can meet each other. So that way, if they want to have a social component, if that's part of their motivation to volunteer, or if not, I can do it either way. I think we have a big meeting in orientation, educational, rollout. And then if some people don't want to come to a meeting or can't, I can go out individually and walk it with them and just do it like an individual kind of quiet orientation for those that would prefer that, or both, whatever. Yeah, whichever works for the volunteers. I'm happy to support and get the volunteers feeling connected and get their questions answered.
It's great.
And as some questions come up, I actually already did this kind of preemptively with Yvonne and Liz, who live down on Purvis Road. Well, actually, they live near Purvis Road. So I already walked it with them, and they had some really good questions. So then when I have questions, I'll bring them back to the group here, and we can sort out what the answers are.
that's great.
Yeah, because they wanted to do stuff. They wanted to pull litter out, but they don't want to be damaging to the environment. So like, where's the line? We don't want to tromp all the way through sensitive wetlands to pull stuff out, but should we just leave it there? And some good questions. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. So we found out that town hall is available on Tuesdays, except for the first Tuesday of each month. So we can kind of, the committee met in, I think we met in June, maybe, Tony, and we talked about, well, what will the sections be? And we discovered that we needed to make Shug sections, and you added them. And we also talked about what would be the content that we would want to orient people and train people in. And so we've got some notes on previous meetings that we've had to put together the orientation program. And I think that will be really fun to do, because we'll have this whole, theoretically, we'll have kind of a crowd of people from all the way across from east to west sections coming together and talking about how they can support the trail. And that'll be a fun, good event.
I also just want to, Diane, I don't know if you know this, I want to give Susan some credit. When she was here in exile from Canada, she made some little laminated signs. They're just like, this size. and laminated, and she put a QR code, and they're just invitations for stewards, and they're nicely laminated and weatherproof with the QR code and a link for more information. And when we're ready to go out, we can just put those up on existing kiosks or other places. They're just temporary, but so that people who aren't on social media but who are actually walking the trail can see these little signs and go, oh, I want to do that. It's just another outreach. And I've got those. She gave them to me in case she's got problems with the next border crossing. The signs are here ready to go. I like the QR code on there too, because that way we can always change what's linked to the QR code from a keyboard.
I think it's also good to put a URL, because not everybody wants to click, because they don't know what they're clicking to.
Okay,
So you
yeah,
gotta have a URL. And ideally, it's not a bit.ly, because a lot of people don't like to click on bit.ly or tiny URLs. But we could put something on our website, and so then it would be giantrailtrail.org/stewards. Which would be short enough to write.
Right now it's linked to the website, to the blog section. So when you click on it right now, it goes to the latest blog. And I figure when it's time, replace that blog with one about the stewards, and it'll click to that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and we might want to have a dedicated page for the stewards, just so that like it doesn't just go to the blog and then you write a great article and I post it on the blog, and then all of a sudden now they're not getting to the stewards anymore.
This is just like Sue said, these are just temporary. These are small signs to put up to like Sue said, to get anyone who isn't linked in other ways, just walks the trail a lot. In fact, I think it says on it, do you walk the trail a lot, or are you on the trail a lot? So they'll go up once we put the steward message in the blog, and they'll come down before that blog goes away.
Okay, that's good. We should have the URL.
Good. Okay, so it feels like that's really cooking. Also, I put the meeting with the TC3. I should have put Outdoor Adventures Club rather than Outing Club. I think since the last meeting, Sue and I had a great session with folks at TC3 who are interested in outdoor adventure, and we have 3 folks here from the club. Anybody wanna have you followed up on a field trip?
Well, Chase, she's referencing Chase, who couldn't make it today. Chase is out of town. She was gonna try to Zoom in, but I see she didn't make it.
Oh, okay.
2 people here, and Chase is in our hearts. She's also very interested in the mini forest, Marianne.
Oh, good.
Because I talked a lot at that meeting about the stewards program, because that is up and coming. But then we realized, like, for TC3 students to participate in the stewards program, they don't have cars. It's a hike for them to just get to the trail. And there isn't a nice access spur yet for them to walk. So we talked about maybe I was just brainstorming, and I thought maybe a mini forest on the TC3 campus.
I agree. I think
And then someday we will connect a spur trail from the current rail trail so that TC3 students can access it easier. But if you guys want to talk about that, a mini forest at TC3, that might be wonderful.
Great connection. Did anybody make a field trip yet to the Shug Trail?
I don't think so.
Not yet. Okay.
Not to that section yet.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're sitting right next to me. Dylan, he's just a club president. I'm sorry, Dylan. Yeah.
Anything you wanted to add to what we said about your interest?
Yeah, I think that committee for us would be fantastic. I think so there is the SAGE trail, which stands for Students Acting for a Greener Earth or something like that, on campus, and it's kind of fallen into disrepair. It was made I think 10-15 years ago. So that's something that our club does, is we've been going out trying to put up trail markers and clear some of the debris, some of the thorns that have kind of overgrown a lot of the trail. And I think we could definitely explore setting up a mini forest there or some other place. There's a lot of cool stuff on campus. And I definitely like the idea of eventually Eventually.
Eventually, we're just starting to connect, but it's great that you guys are here. So we want to we'll support you and doing stuff that's convenient for you, but also ties in with, one of the purposes of the trail is to connect people with the outdoors and make it accessible. So I think, and tying it, and I just see this, this is why I'll offer these guys a ride if they want a ride, if they don't have a vehicle, because it really worries me for them walking up here in the dark and walking back in the dark. They walk the back way down.
It is a really nice walk.
It's a nice walk, but there's no sidewalk, there's no shoulder, the ditch is right next to the road, and if you're walking at night,
That's the
it's dark.
adventure. You never know what's gonna happen.
Yeah. My mom heart is having And I think this is, right now we're trying to finish the main trail, but at some point some spur trails, and I think TC3 could be much better connected, bike friendly and pedestrian friendly to the village and to the rail trail. That's some of the stuff in my wish list for the future. We're not going to get it done this year, but I think it's great. So if you guys are interested and as new students come in, we'll connect, and it could be something that would work for everybody and have the rail trail and TC3 more connected. I think that'd be a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
I definitely, this coming spring semester, I want to create an event. So because it's hard for TC3 students to act as stewards, many of them live on campus, don't have the transportation to, but at least some big one day, maybe a few hours, we can arrange for transportation. We have a van on campus, or if other members of the Dry Rail Trail are willing to provide rides, of course.
Yeah.
Just to get students out to experience the trail, to kind of build that connection firsthand. I think would be fantastic.
Yeah, definitely.
Great. We appreciate your inviting us, and we appreciate you coming to us too. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Matt.
Good. Let's see. We already did a little mini forest update. Thank you, Marion. Do we have anything more to add? Just previews of coming attractions?
I guess the next thing would be to think about what kind of trees and shrubs we want to plant up there. So maybe at the next meeting, we can do that. But we can't, we don't have access to order them from the state nursery until after the new year. So the beginning of January. But then if we knew what we were looking for, we could get that going.
Yeah, good. And we did, several of us were at the tree planting that happened in honor of Bob Beck at the Von Engelen Preserve on Saturday before last. And Mary and I took an opportunity to check in with Jean Grace, who's the City of Ithaca forester who lives in Freeville, and she is willing to help us review the tree varieties, trees and shrubs that we will plant. So we have listings of what Soil and Water Conservation District has offered in terms of bare root plants in the past, and we can look at those and then review them with Jean. I would see that as something that we might do as a subcommittee, but we'll report on.
You can report it as
this meeting. Yeah.
Is there a preferred type of vegetation, whether it's a fast growing, or does speed matter?
Right. And things that will be able to survive on that, the soil is pretty gravelly.
Okay.
And we have this option to get this hydrogel that we would put into the hole with the plants to keep them watered. So I was actually looking at the state site, and they have a little booklet that talks about the different site conditions for things. And we knew that we want to do red cedar as a sort of the main plant, but gray dogwood is another tree that is tolerant to drought that we might think about, and maybe the hazelnut tree, which is also something that could do well in a dry soil.
I'm wondering if various varieties of hawthorn might be suitable.
I'll
They're
check
very
it out.
attractive for migratory birds. They, can, depending on the variety that's planted, they can fill out nicely during the, during the year.
They don't get too tall.
Although
They don't get too tall, but they, can get.
But
Don't they usually like a moist environment?
Well, that's what I was struggling with, recalling whether they kind of prefer moist habitats like in, cattle pastures and things like that.
They're often stream side.
Stream sides, yeah. So it's worth looking at.
Yeah, sure.
Good. That'll be fun work to do together, choosing.
Yeah, to try to figure out what's the right tree for the site.
I really trust Jean, and Todd is pointing out in the chat that she is also serves on the Town of Dryden Conservation Board and has, I think, advised Freeville about plantings on Freeville Village. And so we're really lucky to have the expertise of a forester to help us identify what will work on the site. And I had reported before that she had visited the site as a potential spot for plantings in conjunction with the Climate Action Committee in the past. And I thought that she rejected it because of the preponderance of invasives on it, but she clarified at the meeting that we at the tree planting that actually it was just because it didn't fall into a certain disadvantaged community category of New York State that meant that site was they needed to get into a different geographical region, but she thought it was a great site and was happy to work with us on it. And she was very glad to hear that we were eliminating the invasives, that we had done that work day together to eliminate the invasives. So we're in great shape for a planting, I think.
Yeah, so we really managed to hit just about everything.
Yeah, we got good weather and great chainsaw skills and off we went. Good. Just a couple of last things here. I want to thank Susan and Sue and Rose for providing some signage. I think you and Susan provided some signage at the porta potty, and you did research with the folks about the fact that we were getting doggy poop bags left in the porta potty. So now we have a sign on it that explains, please don't leave your poop bags.
I think this is the last week though for the installation. So I think we started out being serviced on Thursdays, and then somewhere along the line they switched it to Tuesdays. So it may disappear tomorrow.
Okay.
Oh, we'll see. Okay.
Okay. So that remains still a sort of to be continued issue for us. It was wonderful that in a moment when we'd had some kind of complaints or at least expressions of wishes for a porta potty there, that you just stepped in and made sure that it happened. And in the long run, it's unsustainable to keep on paying for porta potties in that spot. So talking with folks at the village about what they might be willing to help us with to provide some kind of restroom at the village of Freeville is something that's kind of on the list of ongoing things to do. Rose and I were talking about, well, could the village hall be retrofitted in any way to let people use the bathrooms that are right in the village hall? But, that wouldn't be so easy to do given their configurations. So a little problem solving. I think we need to get maybe with the village officers and the DPW guys to see if we can brainstorm together.
Yeah, and there's also a Freeville Community Council that they do, they try to do programming to keep the villagers involved. And it might be something that they can take an interest in, and I'll kind of toss it out that way and see if they jump on it at all.
Great. So Village of Freeville folks, Rose and Chip, will you help us stay on top of this and connect with the community council at the right time? Yeah, it's gonna reemerge for us in the spring that we're gonna want to have something for folks there. Good. Okay, and so I'm circulating this picture that came from the Rotary Peace pole installation, and that's kind of the last issues. You have
I
not.
do have to leave early to get my sister from her night class. So I do have to leave now.
Okay.
Unfortunately,
Thank
I wish I
you,
could stay a
Dylan,
bit
for joining
longer.
us.
But thank you so much for having me. It was good to see you two again. It was really nice to meet all of you, and I hope to make it to the next meeting.
Great.
Good.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Dylan. Night. Good. Okay, we have gotten to the end of our agenda. Any other announcements? I think this is one of the ones about business.
Did you want to mention the Peace Pole?
The Peace Pole, I'm circulating the
yeah.
article about
Thank you.
the Peace Pole.
Can you hold the picture up to the camera?
The photo.
You'll
Can you
hold it up to the
hold it
camera.
up to her camera? Can you hold
Oh,
up
yeah.
to have your?
Okay. Yeah, here's the Cortland Standard. Dryden Rotary installs Peace Pole on rail trail. Yeah. As Dan would say, front page in color and top of the fold. Yeah.
Above the fold.
Above the fold, yeah, that's right. Yeah. So very, very nice coverage for something that was very easy for us to do, to welcome something that's expresses such a good sentiment about the trail.
Well, speaking of newspapers, that article that you sent was cool.
Oh,
about
yes.
Do you think it would be a problem to write to them and ask them if they could rename their blog to calling it the Freeville section of the Dryden Rail Trail and not the Freeville Rail Trail?
Yeah, I'll put the context for the rest of the folks here. I noticed that there was an article, there's a brand new Village of Freeville blog that's just been announced. And there was an adorable photograph of dog owners with 4 pups called Wintry Walks and Waggly Tails. And I sent it along to Diane and Sue, thinking that it would be perfect to just go right up onto our Facebook page. But it happens that the writer referred to it as the Freeville Rail Trail.
Okay, capital F, capital R, capital T.
Yeah. And so the suggestion was that we could, and I think it might have been Stephanie, she's in the picture.
Yeah, she's in the picture.
And
Yeah.
this is the donor of the doggy waste bags, who I think posted that, who's been a real trail supporter over time. And I think I could just probably email her and say, could we reproduce this, but just make that one change from Freeville Rail Trail to Freeville section of the Dryden Rail Trail?
Yeah, good catch. That seems appropriate to me.
Okay.
Do we call our trail by the actual name?
On that point as well, there's a lot of people that call the Varna stretch the Varna Rail Trail.
Sure. Yeah. I think that's, and there are people who still call it the Shug Trail. And it's the Shug, now it has become the Shug section of the rail trail. So
that's okay. That's great when you're talking with neighbors and,
Right.
but when it's an actual article, it should be.
But if we get a little more consistent about our naming, then people won't be calling it the Shug Rail Trail or the Shug Trail. They'll be calling it the Shug section
yeah.
or the Freeville section.
Yeah.
And so I think, because otherwise people are going to think it's a totally different trail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then our social media won't be accessible because they'll be looking for names that don't go
Right,
anywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
really, it does,
Good.
we're not being persnickety. We're just saying the name of the trail is the Dryden Rail Trail. And we have really distinct, wonderful neighborhood sections, village sections, hamlet sections, and that's great too. But Dryden Rail Trail.
Yeah.
When
we'll do it.
when we have the trail stewards, I think that'll help. And if I can get my brother to make these patches, I keep asking him about it, then they'll actually wear something that says Dryden Rail Trail. So
Ooh, wouldn't that be so cool if those stewards patches could be made by the January or early February orientation session.
My brother volunteered to do it. I will ask him again, and having a date might get him moving on it.
Okay. Yeah. If all falls into place, I think later in January we would do that, or early February, we'll do the orientation for folks.
The Adirondack Rail Trail has full outfits.
Full outfits.
For their ambassadors,
tourists.
they use the word ambassadors.
That was
Really?
interesting. I was so glad you forwarded that to me. That the Adirondack. Tell a little bit about the Adirondack Trail.
It is wonderful. I mean, it runs from Tupper Lake to Floodwood, what's it called, Road, and then it goes to Saranac Lake, North to Lake Placid, and it cost $1 million, more than $1 million a mile. So,
Oh, my God.
and it is absolutely gorgeous.
With that $1 million.
Oh, they cleaned it. I mean, the width of the trail there is just, and it is heavily used. It is very heavily used.
Is it a stone surface or paved?
There's a bit round Saranac Lake which is paved. I think that's where it is, but I've only been on it once. But most of it's just crushed stone.
Okay.
Very hard crushed stone.
It's part of the same sections that during the wintertime, it's all snowmobile trailing.
Overrun by snowmobiles in the winter.
So they allow
There's-
fossil fuels.
But they
bars
don't
and the
allow horses,
restaurants.
no horses.
The motels, the B&Bs, yeah.
Gas stations.
Yeah.
What upset me, well, not upset me, didn't surprise me, I guess. We did one of the sections. I think I told Alice that we passed like 32 bicycles, of which 28 were electric. And people are just cruising along their electric bikes and not actually. Sorry, Susan. Not going to. No, I was on my pedal bike.
Anyone that has two healthy hips should not have an e-bike. Maybe none of them had two healthy hips.
And then the section that just opened, it opened a few weeks ago. As you were going along it, there was this trail going along the side of the track of some animal. There was a moose that had run down there and left its mark all the way.
Awesome.
And newly,
That's why they have the electric bikes, so they get away from
Good luck.
To me, this section where you're going from Saranac Lake to Lake Placid, I mean, you've got ponds, you're going through the woods, and you've got the mountains on the background. It's lovely.
Boy, that's inspiring. It's 34 miles, I read.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's 34.
Yeah, really inspiring. Well, that's a nice note to think about. We have 14.5 miles to develop. We won't match that 34, but we'll tie in with other trails in Tompkins County that allow us to actually see some pretty beautiful stuff in our neck of the woods.
And the state won't be maintaining our trail in the same way they're going to maintain that one.
Probably not. We'll have to, maybe we'll bring some of our DPW guys on a field trip there for inspiration. Who knows? Anyway, that's a nice note to begin to wrap up our meeting. We're right at 8:32, so we've kept within our agenda tonight. And before we adjourn, I want to confirm that our next meeting is on Monday, December 15th. I'm glad that this year it falls 10 days before Christmas, so we're not right up against the holiday for it. And hopefully at that meeting, we'll be able to celebrate that we have a low bidder for the bridge. So lots of things to be happy about as we move into this holiday season. And thank you to everybody for being here.
I'll be in person on the December meeting. So
Great. We'll adjourn at 8:33. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Do you want to have like maybe refreshments at that meeting?